India and Brazil have set an ambitious new economic target. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva agreed to raise bilateral trade to $20 billion within the next 5 years. The announcement came after delegation-level talks in New Delhi, where both sides signed key agreements across strategic sectors. Lula arrived in India on a state visit and was accorded a ceremonial welcome at Rashtrapati Bhavan. He later held talks with PM Modi at Hyderabad House and paid tribute to Mahatma Gandhi at Rajghat. The visit follows Modi's trip to Brasilia in July 2025, the first by an Indian Prime Minister to Brazil in more than 5 decades. At a joint press conference, Modi said Brazil remains India's largest trading partner in Latin America. He said the two countries are committed to taking trade beyond $20 billion in 5 years.
ब्राजील लैटिन अमेरिका में भारत का सबसे बड़ा ट्रेड पार्टनर है। हम आने वाले 5 वर्षों में द्विपक्षीय व्यापार को $20 बिलियन के भी आगे ले जाने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है।
He added that expanding the India-Mercosur trade agreement would further strengthen economic cooperation. Modi described trade not merely as numbers, but as a reflection of trust between two major democracies of the global south. India and Brazil will expand cooperation in artificial intelligence, supercomputing, semiconductors, and blockchain. Both leaders confirmed work is underway to establish a center of excellence for digital public infrastructure in Brazil. Modi said technology must remain inclusive and act as a bridge for shared progress across the global south. Energy emerged as another pillar of cooperation. Both sides agreed to deepen collaboration not only in hydrocarbons but also in renewable energy, ethanol blending, and sustainable aviation fuel. Brazil's participation in the Global Biofuel Alliance was welcomed as a signal of shared commitment to climate action.
भारत मर्कोसुर ट्रेड समझौते के विस्तार से हमारा आर्थिक सहयोग और सुदृढ़ होगा। टेक्नोलॉजी और इनोवेशन के क्षेत्र में हमारा सहयोग दोनों देशों के साथ-साथ पूरे ग्लोबल साउथ के लिए महत्व रखता है। मुझे खुशी है कि हम ब्राजील में डिजिटल पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस बनाने पर काम कर रहे हैं। आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, सुपर कंप्यूटर, सेमीकंडक्टर्स और ब्लॉकचेन जैसे क्षेत्रों में अपने सहयोग को भी हम प्राथमिकता दे रहे हैं।
Three agreements were exchanged: digital partnership for the future, cooperation in rare earths and critical minerals, mining and steel supply chains. Modi called the rare earth agreement a major step toward building resilient global supply chains amid rising geopolitical and trade uncertainties.
क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स और रेयर अर्थ में जो समझौता हुआ है, वो रेजिलिएंट सप्लाई चेन्स के निर्माण में एक बहुत बड़ा कदम है। डिफेंस के क्षेत्र में भी हमारा सहयोग निरंतर बढ़ रहा है। ये एक दूसरे के प्रति भरोसे और रणनीतिक तालमेल का बेहतरीन उदाहरण है। हम इस विन विन पार्टनरशिप को आगे भी और मजबूत करते रहेंगे। हम कृषि और पशुपालन क्षेत्र में अपने साझेदारी को भविष्य की जरूरतों के हिसाब से नए आयाम दे रहे हैं।
President Lula described the meeting as one between two major democratic powers of the global south. He called India a digital superpower and Brazil a renewable energy superpower. He said closer coordination between the two countries would strengthen the global south and prevent a divided world order.
I would like to finish by saying to you, sir, that I am completely sure that the eyes of Brazil towards India is one of very hopeful eyes. In India, we have a country of a lot of similarities. Despite the difference in the number of inhabitants, we have very similar problems. Our scientific and technological knowledge, they are close. And if we work together, we are going to strengthen Brazil-India bilateral relation. We're going to strengthen our relation with the Mercosur, and we're going to strengthen the global south so that we never, ever again are faced with a Cold War between, two big superpowers. Thank you very much.
Lula also addressed security concerns. He said Brazil has repudiated attacks in Kashmir and stressed that terrorism should not be linked to any religion or nationality. He reaffirmed Brazil's commitment to maintaining South America as a zone of peace.
Urgent, important to alleviate the suffering of the Palestinian people. Brazil has really repudiated the attacks in Kashmir. We know that terrorism is not associated to any religion or nationality. Also, it cannot be confused as public security challenges that many countries face. These are different phenomena, and that should not be used as an excuse for intervention at the margin of international law. I reaffirm to Prime Minister Modi that Brazil is committed to keeping South America as a zone of peace.
Meanwhile, Modi said both nations agree that terrorism and its supporters are enemies of humanity.
भारत और ब्राजील एक मत है कि आतंकवाद और उसके समर्थक पूरी मानवता के शत्रु हैं। हम इस बात पर भी सहमत हैं कि वर्तमान समय की चुनौतियों से निपटने के लिए वैश्विक संस्थानों का रिफॉर्म अत्यंत आवश्यक है। हम इस दिशा में भी मिलकर प्रयास करते रहेंगे। एक्सेलेंसी, मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि आपकी यह यात्रा हमारी रणनीतिक साझेदारी को और गहराई देगी और आने वाले वर्षों में सहयोग के नए आयाम स्थापित करेगी।
Both leaders pushed for reform of global institutions. Lula reiterated support for expanding the UN Security Council and referred to the G4 grouping of Brazil, India, Japan, and Germany. He said the United Nations must reflect 21st century realities and provide greater representation to emerging powers.
Important to remind the Indian and Brazilian press that for over 20 years, Brazil, India, Japan, and Germany set up a group called G4, where we defend the increase of the UN Security Council, which is something that hasn't happened until now, but will definitely happen soon, because the UN needs more representation. The UN needs to have the force, the strength to interfere in the conflicts that we see throughout the world today. And if it is, a body that doesn't operate, this will not survive. So we're going to continue to fight for the UN to be more representative with more countries throughout the world, and more, Brazil and India as members of the Permanent Security Council. Increasing the categories of permanent and non-permanent members is an essential condition to provide legitimacy and efficacy to global governance amidst so many challenges. We support the efforts for the end of the war in the Ukraine. It is also,
he said, Brazil and India are natural candidates for permanent membership. This visit signals continuity. In July 2025, during Modi's visit to Brazil, the two sides restructured bilateral cooperation across 5 priority areas. Saturday's agreements build on that roadmap and aim to convert political alignment into economic delivery.